Hello, everybody. Thank you for the intro, Amy, and thanks to Hatch, our sponsor, and for the opportunity to speak today. I'm really excited to be here on the panel and talk about this topic. Whether or not we called it DEI back when I joined the mining sector, I definitely walked into it by my career choices. So as a Newfoundlander, I grew up here in the St. John's area in Logie Bay, and finishing high school coincided for me with the discovery of the Voisey Bay deposit. It was an exciting time for those of you. I'm like Angela now, I'm dating myself, but for those of you at that time, it was a pretty low point economically for the province, and so the Voisey Bay discovery was met with a lot of excitement and promise for the future, and I thought what a great way to bring myself back to the province. I did leave the province to study mining engineering. I had a great experience at McGill University, and my timing wasn't great when I finished I finished the program at McGill. The Voisey Bay mine wasn't yet in construction, which led me west in the country, north, and then south into the United States before making my way back to Newfoundland just a year ago. I met Roberto a year ago, who you'll be hearing from tomorrow, our director in Vale, and was fortunate to join the management team here in Newfoundland and Labrador operations. But yeah, it's been great to be back in the province. It was a circuitous route that I took, but yes, back when I started, we weren't referring to it as DE&I, but I certainly felt it in the classroom as one of very few women studying mining, and as a co-op student, I got to take part in lots of great work terms, including one at the IOC mine, now Rio Tinto at the time, and one of my experiences, and I don't want to be negative, looking back it was pretty humorous, but I was going underground in Ontario during one of my work terms, and when one of the male miners noticed that I was in the cage, he refused to go underground with a female because females underground were bad luck. So he stopped his descent and went down later. I think at the time it really didn't feel great. It was an isolating experience, but it also brought forward lots of early encouragement from others. So for every one person who might have taken that view, there were several others who said, you know, get out of here, you. This is a great opportunity to work with a more diverse crew. And so those were some of my formative experiences. And for those of you who don't know, I want to introduce my current employer, Vale Base Metals. I'm employed in the Newfoundland and Labrador operations. For those of us from the province, we know the facilities best as the Voisey Bay mine and the Long Harbour processing plant. And we're a huge employer in the province. Really proud to be part of this employer that has over 4,000 people directly and indirectly employed here in Newfoundland and Labrador. We're producing, as we've heard several times today, we're leading the charge on the critical minerals front for the province, producing low carbon nickel, copper, and cobalt. We have two separate impact benefit agreements. They were signed in 2002. Also, many of us from the province will remember that period. It was historic, and they really formed the social license to operate for the Voisey Bay mine and later the Long Harbour processing plant. But I did want to speak about that today because I think it set the foundation, in my view, for the diversity, equity, and inclusion strategy that exists today. But look at those numbers. I love reading through some of these stats, as I just rolled over 1 year with Vale Base Metals, so I'm still learning. And to think about that, over $17.5 billion invested in our province throughout the course of this project. So it really is world class. So what does it mean day to day, diversity, equity, and inclusion? This is our vision statement. I invite you to read it, but what it means to me now that I've had a year under my belt is that we're trying to create an atmosphere at work where we're free to exchange ideas, where we look for that diversity and exchange of ideas that Melanie referred to in her introduction. And there's many ways that that takes shape in our work environment and our day-to-day. But I think another point that I heard in the introduction that really resonated with me was that DEI makes great business sense. With the scale of the project that is Newfoundland and Labrador operations for Vale Base Metals, I was going to present a chart of the human resources that it requires to execute such a project, but it ended up being very busy, so I chose this photo instead. But as many of you can relate, we need hundreds of careers in mining, engineering, various forms of engineering, tradespeople, miners, HR professionals, warehouse personnel, finance. For those of you in this industry, you know, particularly in a remote operation like Voisey's Bay Mine, we're not just mining, it's a community. It's where people live while they're at work. And at the Long Harbour Processing Plant, we have a very unique skill set required there. We have a huge diversity of skills and trades needed to run that world-class facility. So it just makes good business sense. We have to attract, retain, bring those people into our business in order to be successful. So not only was the foundation there in the IBA agreements, but in addition, it just makes sense that our company is committed to DE&I. In our day-to-day actions, what this means is that time is allotted in our day to take part in a number of informative events that bring forth the interests and reflect back our workforce to us. So whether that's our celebration of Red Dress Day, learning from internal and external stakeholders who have a significant body of knowledge to share what those events mean. I've had the ability to take part in a number of them and increase my understanding of a number of issues facing us and showing up in our workplace and in our outside world. We're invited as Vale Base Metals employees to be part of what we refer to as affinity groups. This is meant to bring forward the interest and causes, representations amongst the workforce, and create an environment and resources to share ideas. So we've had webinars, team building events that refer to International Women's Day, Black History Month, and not only are these calendar items that show up in your inbox, but from the top of our organization to the floor of our facilities, people are invited to take part, to communicate their ideas. And then I think what's even more impressive is that those ideas that we take in and learn in these sessions, they're reinforced in our daily routines, in our meetings. We're asked for our views. I see leadership reinforcing and bringing those ideas, not just in that isolated event, but throughout their day and throughout the business. So it's something that I'm really enjoying and really impressed by how embedded the DEI strategy is at Vale Base Metals. One particular aspect that I wanted to speak to is the activities and DEI representation, I guess you'll call it, at Voisey's Bay Mine. And again, it goes back to those IBAs, and we have commitments there around local hiring. But I'm a case in point. I think hiring local makes good business sense. I think that those of us we're kind of notorious as Newfoundlanders for wanting to come back, Newfoundlanders and Labradorians, I would say, to come back to the province. But I think we can all agree that's something that's not unique to our province, even though we have a healthy dose of it, I think. But we want to be here. We want to be in the province where we're from, near our family. We're likely to stay and be part of the project long term. So what we have happening at Voisey's Bay Mine is, it started in the open pit. It was called a job readiness program. So we're really taking people in who might not have considered mining training them from day one, giving them exposure to the different careers at the mine. And it's evolved as the business needs change to an underground beginner program. And the two young women shown here are just a couple of examples of successful applicants through that program who are now full-time employees. So we're reaching out, creating underground miners where those folks who are involved might not have considered it before. And another positive, really exciting side of that, by taking down those barriers, we've attracted more women into the mining profession. So it's a win-win-win as far as DEI is concerned. And it's really exciting for me as a female mining person from the province to see this. And if you told me 25 years ago when I chose mining, maybe 27, that I'd be sitting in the Voisey Bay craft room with a male colleague from Makovic showing me how to sew sealed pelt into mittens in a after-work activity at Voisey's Bay, I think I would have, thought I'd gone and died and gone to heaven, because it was just a perfect, vision of what you'd hope to see at a mining site in Labrador. So I'm really happy to be part of it. And just to sum up, we've been recognized as Vale Base Metals by our peers for some of our efforts. We recently had the privilege of getting the Inclusive Growth Award. And I think it doesn't signify the end of a journey. It's just a recognition that we're on the right path. So look forward to the discussion, and thanks again for having me.
Thank you very much.